Muffy. I brought some sautéed breaded cauliflower. And I brought ratatouille. They look lovely.
12 seconds later.
This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe and help get this video to 2,000 likes.
And I say, hey!
It's lunchtime at Lakewood Elementary. The kids are having a themed meal in honor of Cinco de Mayo, or, as it's known in America, Taco Tuesday. Sue Ellen forgoes the Mexican meat in favor of the vegetarian option. Wait, these kids go to a public school that has freshly cooked vegetarian meals? At my school, the only vegetarian meal in the cafeteria consisted of a half-frozen Uncrustable, a cheese stick, and apples that tasted like plastic. Sue Ellen tells her friend she's giving up meat to be a full-time vegetarian, and based on their reactions, you would think she just said she eats babies. Though I can think of one baby worth adding to the menu. Muffy says she's also a vegetarian now because some white girl on Instagram said it's like totally cool, you know? Francine calls her a poser and points to the steak on her plate. So they've got veggies and steak? Where was all this gourmet crap when I went to public school? Sue Ellen warns Muffy that being a vegetarian is a full-time commitment which can't be taken lightly. Francine boasts she doesn't think Muffy could go a whole day without meat. She successfully gives Muffy a raging spite boner, as the trust fund toddler swears off meat for good. That afternoon, Muffy and Sue Ellen go to the mall to celebrate going 4 hours without meat, which is kind of like going to a bar to celebrate 4 hours of not drinking. Muffy drags Sue Ellen to the knockoff KFC, only to be utterly shocked that they don't have any vegetarian options.
Chicken isn't vegan?
Muffy tries to get a vegetarian meal from the cashier, who is clearly done with everything and everyone and is now my new favorite character. That is the level of passive aggression I aspire to. That night, Muffy's dad tries to tempt his defiant daughter with a slice of extra rare pot roast, which is easily the most disgusting thing I've ever heard of. Muffy is about to fall off the wagon and call Sue Ellen in a vain attempt to weasel out of her commitment. Muffy asks if it counts if she just keeps her mouth open and lets the meat fall in on its own. And I mean, I get it. We've all been to church camp. Sue Ellen says she doesn't give a crap and reminds Muffy that no one is forcing her to be a vegetarian. Muffy refuses to give up as she's hell-bent on proving Francine wrong. Fantastic. Also, I just noticed they never actually show Mr. Crosswire's face in this scene. I get that it probably saves money on animation, but I don't know. The way he's holding up that slab of meat over his daughter's face gives me the same vibes as the chicken wing scene from Killer Joe.
Trust me on this one. You don't want to know.
The next day, Muffy proudly throws in the towel after learning her celebrity role model is no longer a vegetarian. Francine breathlessly berates her best friend for resting on her laurels. Muffy pulls a reverse Uno and dares Francine to put her mushrooms where her mouth is. Francine blindly agrees to give up meat purely out of spite. Deja vu. That afternoon, Francine and Sue Ellen are chowing down on some bland-ass frozen yogurt, when Muffy struts in to throw off their game. She tries to sabotage Francine with a double bacon burger cock tease. Francine damn near gives in as she hallucinates the burger coming to life, which is meant to look appetizing but instead comes off as pure nightmare fuel.
Hi, Francine.
Hi, Bubsy.
I really miss you.
That's what I thought you said. Now let me offer this as a rebuttal.
Don't eat me! I'm too chewy!
Muffy makes it her mission to break Francine's spirit. She mentally tortures Francine by having Chinese food delivered directly to her home. But how would Muffy even know if Francine ate any of it? Unless she's got spy cameras hidden all over the apartment. I wouldn't put it past her.
Here, have this cheese instead. I'll take care of the Chinese.
That might be vegetarian, but it's definitely not kosher. Last I checked, she's Jewish, right? I know the later seasons retcon a lot of stuff, but it'd be weird if they retconned the Frenskies being Jewish. The next day, Muffy calls a truce and invites Francine and Sue Ellen to her potluck. Sue Ellen once again reminds Francine she's under no obligation to abstain from meat. Francine refuses to give up due to her seething hatred for her supposed best friend. Surprise, surprise, it turns out Muffy asked everyone to bring a meat-based dish behind Francine's back. Francine and Sue Ellen show up to the potluck with vegetarian dishes, and Muffy promptly throws them in the garbage, though she forgets to throw herself in there as well. Francine is fed up with Muffy's mind games and calls her out for trying to sabotage her diet. Just then, Buster shows up with a bushel of veggies from the community garden.
Vegetables? You were supposed to bring pizza with chicken inside
Oh, sorry. My mom didn't have time to make that.
Who the hell makes pizza from scratch for a potluck? Everyone knows the only acceptable potluck pizza is from Domino's. Don't ask me why, that's just the rule. Francine gloats in Muffy's face as she chows down on collard greens, only to learn they were cooked in duck fat. Muffy cheers with delight as Francine takes a big fat bite of crow. Sue Ellen has had enough of their crap and chews out the two for using vegetarianism as an excuse to go at each other's throats. She reminds them that being a vegetarian requires true commitment and dedication.
You want to know why I gave up eating meat? Because there are some animals whom I consider friends.
And I mean, good for you, Sue Ellen, but also, you're like 8 years old. Also, I'm pretty sure most cats are hardcore carnivores. Then again, this is a world where rats are people, but squirrels and gerbils aren't. So what the hell do I know? Sue Ellen storms out after she tells Francine and Muffy to just shut up and fuck already. And that's a joke I wrote before I remembered how old these characters are. The rest of the partygoers clear out as Francine and Muffy are left to gorge themselves on their own duplicity. There's no way those other kids are getting their Tupperware back. The next week at school, the girls apologize to Sue Ellen by making a Meatless Monday menu for the cafeteria, which is a nice gesture, but in real life the PTA would shut this down in a heartbeat. The girls dig into the ratatouille as they count down the hours until their next double cheeseburger. 'Cause I guess hypocrisy is a dish best served with a side of fries. Let's review. Muffy jumped on the vegetarian bandwagon because she wanted to be like her favorite celebrity. She doubled down after being goaded on by Francine and barely made it through a single day without eating meat. She gave up the second she didn't think it was trendy anymore and then dared Francine to try to do better. Francine then proceeded to repeat Muffy's mistakes as she went on a meat-free diet just to spite her best friend and future hate fucker. Muffy went out of her way to sabotage Francine by taunting her with fast food and sending takeout directly to her home. She tried to entrap Francine with an all-meat potluck and tricked her into eating a non-vegetarian dish. And the girls only put their feud to bed after Sue Ellen called them out for their petty bullshit. So, for spurring Muffy to give up meat and then unironically doing the exact same thing, fuck you, Francine. And of course, for being a half-ass vegetarian and then mentally torturing Francine with an endless barrage of free food, fuck you, Muffy.
And I say, hey!
Hey, I have a Patreon. Sign up at patreon.com/mattneff to get your name in the thank you credits, along with early access to every FUDW and the chance to vote for future episodes. If there's a movie or show you'd like me to talk about, top-tier patrons can commission a review for my channel. Check out the link in the description to become an FUDW superfan.
And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If we could learn to work and play and get along with each other.